School policy. Today we're going to discuss a staff update for student search criteria based on a recent court case. In Jackson versus McCurry, the question was presented as to whether an administrator had the right to search a student's cell phone without permission. A parent accused a school vice principal of violating his daughter's Fourth Amendment rights when the administrator investigated an issue regarding a student's text message communications. The judge ruled the school was not in violation of either. The administrator was working according to the district policy and was within the limits of the law. Districts can search for evidence of intimidation, bullying, or harassment if there are reasonable claims reported. Today's agenda is we're going to have an introduction into search criteria. We're going to talk about the chain of communication, consent searches versus without consent searches, and we're going to have final tips and takeaways for staff. Administrators have the right to search if there's reasonable suspicion of harmful acts of communication. The Burlington Township School District Board docs shown here explicitly state that staff have permission to do this if we believe a student is in danger. Examples of reasonable suspicion include staff observation and one or more student report of dangerous activity, acts of harassment, intimidation, or bullying. Stakeholders that need to be aware of a search would be an administrator, the superintendent, the students' teachers, a counselor, the parents, and our school resource officer. It is important to do a search in an ethical, private way so that the student still feels as safe as possible. Searches with consent usually are a little easier. The student is just allowing a staff member to provide access to book bags or cell phones. Without consent, it must be done in an administrator's private office with the SRO present and the administrator present, and the student must be made aware that it is for safety measures. Consent means that the student gives written or verbal consent. Of course, we always will get written consent for liability reasons. If a student refuses the search, the administrator must have reasonable suspicion. Examples of reasonable suspicion include reliable student reports, anonymous tip line submission, staff observations of the following: a strange odor, which of course is vaping, which happens in our bathrooms often, a concealed bulge, a change in behavior of a known student, or a verbal or written threat. Action steps are: staff must consult an administrator if there's suspicion with an office referral system. Staff must log the incident. Administrators will follow up with protocol. Staff should offer feedback on best practices to ensure student safety. If a student is involved in a search specifically without consent, we need to make sure that we follow up with our counselors to be sure that it doesn't affect the climate, the culture, and the trust between the students and the staff. Here are the references here. Thank you so much for attending. Of course, if you have any questions, we'll take them now.